How's everybody doing today? That good, huh? Wow. Wow.
If you need to talk. Hey, Caleb, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you, Jaya?
Hey, good. How are you? I am actually trying to set up the camera and everything. My kids actually did the speaker.
Okay, gotcha.
I was not sure, whether this thing works or not.
We're good. We are good.
So how many people are here?
What do we have? Looks like we got 16 so far, but I expect there will be a considerable amount of stragglers that will be coming in here. So we're gonna give them like 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna hit this pretty hard. So
I just put this new mic. My son put the new speaker.
Oh, you got your own mic? You're ready to roll.
Yes.
You're ready
Yeah,
for
my
your own
son did that.
podcast.
I know. I was like thinking this is the first time we are trying. I was not sure whether it works because my is it clear? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks. When do you start? Do you have a podcast already, or is that is that in your future?
No. I haven't thought about any of these things.
All right. Well, we'll figure that out. One thing first, and that'll be this interview. So
yeah,
I'm so excited about this interview because, Jay, you're probably one of the most driven people that I know. Like, I don't even know how you do everything that you do because you have an incredibly big real estate sales business and you have an incredibly big investing business too, which is pretty amazing. So I'll wait till we get a couple more people in here before we dig into it, but I'm excited about this interview. I've been excited about this. When we were talking about you coming to Keller Williams, one of the first things I said when you made the decision, I was like, I can't wait to have you on our investing and wealth building mastermind. You're like, all right, slow down, buddy, slow down. So, but I've been waiting for this because first of all, I just want to learn from you because you've done some pretty cool things with investing. But second of all, I'm excited to share it with the other people on the Zoom here today. So, all right, so it's 1:03. We're gonna get rolling here. So our guest today is Jaya Duraisamy, and some of you just heard me say she's got a really incredible real estate sales business as a realtor and having a team and building that and growing that. But also she's an investor at heart. So Jaya, tell us a little bit. How did you first? I mean, I know you mentioned that you used to collect rents for your father when you were living in India. That's your first real estate experience. What was that like?
Actually, my father, in India, we have something called rooming. We live in the first floor and the second floor and third floor. In India, like the first floor we call it as like, level 0, then like, level 1 is second floor here. It's different. So we had like 8 or 9 rooming houses and 2 apartments in the same land that we are living in. So over there, I go and collect rents, and also I go and deliver like drinking water, because the groundwater is not drinkable. So we have to go to a place somewhere to get the drinking water. So I get additional income for it. That's how I got exposed to real estate. Like, I think it's in my, I was born with 3 other siblings, and none of them did it. And for some reason, I got that gene from my dad, I guess. Like, I always wanted to own investment properties. I never dreamed of becoming a salesperson. Like, I have a master's degree in computer science. So I was in IT field for a long time, like, until 2009. And also I never thought myself as like a salesperson. I always thought myself owning properties from young age. And that's
so
what
So you got started, is it fair to say that you got started in as a real estate investor before you got into real estate sales?
Yes. 2006, okay. Like, 2006, my children were like 5 years old and 3 years old, like, at that time. And I had this, like, that I wanted to go and buy investment properties, do all those things. At that time, I didn't have anybody to guide me through it. Then I started going to DIG, they call it as Delaware Valley Investor Group, a local investor group. I started going to the meetings, and I started understanding all those things. In 2007, I bought my first investment property. That's in Phoenixville, 220 Yocum Drive. And when I bought that property, the housing market is very high, like in 2007. I don't know what I was doing. And I think I remember this. I bought it for $230,000, and I put $70,000 to completely redid the interior of the house, open the walls and everything. And it was, I tried to refinance it and take my money out in 2008. It appraised for $230,000. That was the that was the first investment property where, like, that was the first failure in my life, like, because I always worked for what I wanted and I always got it. I always tell my friends who wants to be an investor, or clients or wants to be an investor, I always tell them to fail first time. Fail little bit, because when you are successful in your first try itself, and arrogance comes to you, then you have this feeling that I am always going to win. Then you take a bigger bet and bigger risk. Then you make a bigger risk that I cannot recover from it. But this one, I was able to recover from it. And for 2 months, I didn't sleep very well. Like, I cried myself, because it is a first failure in my personal and a professional life. And I could handle a $70,000 loss. Both me and my husband work in the information technology IT industry. So it's not that, like, we are financially stressed or something like that because losing a 70K or something. My husband doesn't even agree that that we lost the money. We never sold the house. We still have it. So
I was going to ask you, so was that a flip, or was that
I tried to do flips for 3 or 4 times in my career. Every time I didn't make as much I wanted to be, the IRS came and took my money. Then I always think that, like, holding a real estate for a longer time and renting them out is the one which is truly going to make you rich. Just flipping properties, I don't think I yet to see somebody who hold a property and who flip properties and become multimillionaires.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, it's basically flipping is a job.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like being in real estate sales. So if you flip properties and you use that money to go buy something that you're going to hold, I understand that, and that's great. But flipping properties, it's a cash generating strategy, and you can make a lot of money, but you're not going to build long-term wealth through that. And as you mentioned, the tax advantages just aren't there on the flipping, right?
Yeah, you are taxed at the same rate that you make income at, like, so IRS. And the last flip I did, and I sold it last year, I guess, and I made like $50,000 on that flip. This was a property in Schwansville. Like, I bought it, remember, like, it's listed for 300 or something. I gave $25,000 over the asking price. That was my last individual property that I did in a long while. Like, I bought it 3 years ago. I had a tenant because I didn't want IRS to take my money. So I put a tenant in and I fixed it up, everything. I spent like $60,000, $70,000, fixed it up, I put a tenant in, and they stayed for 2 years and tried to sell it. And I think I made like a $50,000 in it. But I think that is the hardest $50,000 I have ever made. So
I was going to say 50 grand doesn't sound bad, but yeah,
like,
it was a lot of work for you.
Yeah, I felt like it's like really not good. Like, I see, for example, properties that I bought them in 2009, 10 and 11 for like $100,000. I put them $30,000, $40,000 to fix them up. They are all right now 290 to 300,000 value, market value. Yeah. The tenants have been paying rent and the mortgage covers the rent, and I pulled out all the equity out of it. I am, maybe I'm jumping all around. I believe in not having any, not too much money in the houses. Like, you need to get rich using somebody else's money. So I always refinanced and take my money out and invest in something bigger and better and stuff like that. Like, so right. My income, a lot of it comes from sales. So I don't need my rental income to run my day-to-day living. So I just take the money out and redo everything and stuff like that. That's how I did, like,
So you've really stayed in kind of like acquisition mode, right? Where you're looking at acquiring and getting bigger and getting more assets. And then that once you control those assets and own those properties over time, the debt pay down and things like that will happen. So, all right. So I got you. So you started with your first property in Phoenixville and wasn't exactly a rousing success here, but I just want to park on that and just mention that, a lot of times in life, when we have these big visions and this big plan and, it's like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? So it's like everybody has this great plan, but then, life punches you in the mouth, you lose 70 grand. What made you keep going and keep trying at the real estate investing thing rather than just saying, real estate investing's not for me?
I never accepted failure in life. Like, that is the basic principle of it. I am not going to be pulled down just because like a one failure. Like, I kind of, I have a lot of ego. That's what I would say. Like, I always thought like, I can, I have to get out of this game at my terms. That's what I decided, like, so I decided that I'm not going to let it go. Within 4 or 5 months, I saw another property. This is like where everybody, the TV channels and everybody is talking about housing market is in dumps and that's it. We are done. The housing is not, you have to read the newspapers or like, TV, and people get scared of real estate. That is the time which was coming. That is the time I really got rich. Okay.
Yeah.
So the second property I bought like the next block over. This is in Egypt Road in Phoenixville. And it is, I bought it for, I think if I remember correctly, 130,000 or something like that. I put the money in, probably 60, 70,000, like, probably it'll sell for like 250. I haven't done the analysis because I held it for a long time. But at that time also, I think I paid too much for that house. Like, 135 is too much for that house in the condition that was in. So it was a break-even property. Like, it might go for 250 or 300 right now. But like, when I got it in 2007, it was not like a basic investment. Like, the one thing I want to go back and tell why I came back and did my second investment property is that this is the reason. One day I was like thinking about my failure. And I was thinking that, like, you go to college and study, correct? And you spend money going to college and study. And the same way I spent $70,000 to learn about real estate. That's what I thought. Then it just clicked me like that. Like, I used this money towards my education, real estate education. So then I calmed down, then the failure did not. It's, I think, a different perspective about how you take your failure, like, you know. So then the next property, I think I didn't make money. Literally, even I don't think I made quite a bit of money on the second property. Okay. The third property is I bought it in Phoenix. I bought it in Pottstown. That was like, I don't remember. It was like $60,000 a single house in Pottstown. And I spent only like $25,000 to fix it up. And there is a tenant lives in it for last 13 years and pays me $1,500 rent. And I think that will appraise for $250,000. I made $150,000 maybe on that house, like, you know. Then after that, I did probably like 40 deals, like, you know, where I never, after that, and I never lost any money in any of those deals. I had like deals where I just break even, like one or two, but after that I didn't lose any money in any of those deals. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, okay, so you bought these first 3 houses. How did you, and you didn't really, it doesn't sound like any of the first 3, well, it sounds like the third one was a really good deal, right? That was a good deal. Did you use the equity in that third deal to buy your fourth deal, or were you still using earned income?
Actually how I did was that, see, the first one, we both, me and my husband, were in the IT job. And also I read a lot, like, you know, before the thing is that people who fail are all, and who doesn't take it to the next step, you know. I failed, like, you know, in my first deal. So the people who doesn't take it to the next steps are all who haven't did the groundwork. Okay. So for like how you do, like in anything, like, you know, you need to understand everything about real estate. So I read a lot. I read reiclub.com. There is a lot of articles on it, and I go to Bigger Packets, you know. I read and I know what's going on in the market. I'm always up to date what's going on in real estate market. Okay. So investment part of the market, not just in sales and stuff like that, you know, investment part of the market, because that's truly who I am. I am not salesperson is like something I try to do part-time and become like a full-time, like, you know. I kind of think that sales made me poorer.
So you're part-time selling 30 million a year. So that's not a bad part-time gig, you know. It's not bad, but I love that. That's
like long hours now for my part-time job. So anyway, where was I? My thought process went away. Like how I had capital for my. So the first property, we had money and we put it in, and like we put a 20% down, we bought, and we put money from our packet and did that, and we lost money. We could not take the money out. The second one, we had money and we had a mortgage and we put 20% and did everything. That's how we did it. But I think after the third property, we didn't have money because we spent it on 2 of the properties and I could not draw up. And then I started using this strategy where like, you know, I had money in my, I had like I bought my house like 2004 or something like that. It was appreciated in 2006 significantly when the housing market came up. So I took a line of credit. And at that time in 2007, banks are all closing all the line of credits automatically because they don't want you to remove money from, because people are foreclosing like anything. So what I did was that I took the money from from my line of credit and I put it in my bank account. And that was a risky decision because you have to pay interest on it. At that time, interest rates are all like 8, 9, 10%, 8-9%. And we are very like, you know, like a family, very conservative in finances and everything. It was the best decision that I have made is that remove the money and put it there. But why I brought in REI Club and stuff, people who does not have enough money in their right now to start up, because both were in the IT industry. So I was at that time making like $85,000 a year at that time. My husband was little over than that, you know. So we had somehow, like, you know, with 2 kids and 2 daycare and everything, somehow we had money to do all those things for only for 2 properties. After that we didn't. So So what I would say is that, you know, REA Club talks about how to, like the forums, and I read a lot of these articles, like, you know, do something called, they call it as a bird dog, like, you know, it's a word, like we use it in real estate, it's called bird dog, where you can go and directly buy it from the owners, then you can assign the contract, and then you can get money. That is another way of generating your seed money to start the real estate, like, you know. So if somebody is looking at that option, I would say that's how we did it. And we are a strong believer in uh, making the money work. You know, I don't keep a lot of money in the savings account, because I do believe that, like, you know, that money makes money principle. So, like, you know, I have a line of credit on my house, and I took that money, then I started buying. Now, like in 2009 and 10 and 11, there is hardly anybody on the investment, like properties, like the foreclosure properties. They will be coming like that, and you can bid, you pretty much will get it. I know there will be only like 2 or 3 other people, but, you know, you can beat them. Still, you have to pay like over the asking price, but you don't have to pay like a $25,000 over the asking price or any of those things. Then we can fix them up, and I buy them with cash with that $200,000. Then I go and refinance that property after I fix it up. After I fix it up, I find a tenant, I put the tenant in. Then I go to the bank, local bank, and get a mortgage. Then I take my money out, my complete money out. Then I restart it. Basically, I buy $100,000 worth property. Like 100,000 worth property is at the 2008 or 9 value. Okay.
Right.
100,000 value property, I buy it at $50,000. Then I spend $20,000 of my money into it to fix it up. I get a 80% LTV value loan from a local bank. Then we take all of our money from that house. Then we will go back and invest in the next property. Sometimes I do 6 or 7 projects at a time. 2009, I left my, I got laid off. You know, there was IT issue was going on at that time in 2009. That was the first layoff in my career, actually, for me. Then I never went back. You know, I think I'm not an IT person really, basically. I think I used IT as an opportunity to, like, you know, for a short-term gain. Like, you know, I'm not passionate about IT, actually. So I left the IT and started flipping full time. For 1 year I did. Then I had a lot of free time and a lot of energy. Then I became a realtor. I joined Keller Williams first year, and I sold 13 houses. Then after that, I don't know why I went to Remax. Then I did a lot of, like, you know, decent amount of sales. Then I came back, and, you know, I'm very happy here.
Well, welcome back. And yeah, I remember when I was a relatively new agent when you were a new agent at Keller Williams. And I remember you were very determined even back then. And that's definitely a quality that's paid off for you. So did you do wholesaling? I kind of heard you mention that, or like assigning
the main
contract?
problem is that I try to do wholesaling. The problem is that, so it's now I have a heavy accent, like, you know, I had even more heavier accent. It's like, you know, wholesaling is you have to go to their peoples who are in like any very stressful situation. They are trying to sell their house, and, like, you know, getting an appointment, talking to them in my accent and trying to convince them to sell their house to me was pretty difficult. There is
Gotcha.
a lot of like, you know, maybe my mindset was not there, you know, I have to change them, but it is, you know, they look at me as I'm a foreigner, like, you know, so it's kind of hard to somebody who's in that situation, like, you know, I can create a trust like that. It is sad to say that, but like, I can completely understand, like, you know, if I'm in the same situation, I would be very, because people who are in this unfortunate situation, most of the time they trusted somebody, it didn't work out or something like that, or their health or something like that. So, and also I am a very upbeat person, like, you know, I didn't want to meet people who are going through stress so much in their life. Like, you know, it's
Right.
kind of catching up on me. So I just did not do it, but I thought that because I have the seed money, I don't need to do that. Like, you know.
So I love what you shared with the way that you scaled your business up with the real estate investing. So you use, on Bigger Pockets, they talk about the Burr method, right?
Yeah.
You're probably familiar with that. So that's
Yeah,
exactly what you're doing, right? So you buy it, you rent, rehab it, rent it out, and then do a cash out refinance.
yeah.
And when you do that right, I mean, you basically can recycle your money over and over and over to create a trail of investment properties. So were these all, I know you're into multifamily investing as well. When did you get into the multifamily investing, Jaya?
It was see, I have been thinking about it for a long time. You know, my goal was like in 2010 itself, I set a goal of like 10,000 units in 10 years. That was
10,000. Come on, Jay, you got to think bigger, girl. Come on, let's go here.
You know, I was like, the problem is that I came into sales and I'm really good at it. So like, that I had this, but I love my life. Like, you have seen me, I'm a very simple person. I don't, except my expensive car, which I crashed it a couple of weeks ago and totaled it. Other than that, I'm not into expensive stuff. Like, money doesn't make me take, like, actually the deal ticks me, like, it never was like, dealing with my clients and talking to them, helping them, it gave me greatest joy. So I got into the sales side of it. So I sidetracked. Can you answer,
Yeah, I was saying, when did you transition? Because it sounded like you started out like a lot of investors buying the single family houses. When did that turn into multifamily?
Yeah, see, 2000, how much forgetful I so in 2010 I have been thinking about doing it, but sales kind of sidetracked it. Then around 2015 or something, I had this bug, and like 2015 and 16, like I was really the top agent in this area. Like the Chester Spring market, I became #1 during that time. Like even now, even today, I'm the #1 agent in Chester Spring market right now. So it's kind of like it was nagging me. I felt like I was a failure the whole time in my life. Even today, I feel like I'm a failure. Like because I feel like I didn't. Even though you say you are very successful and everything, it doesn't strike in me that like I didn't do what I said to do. Okay, I still think that I haven't done like what I wanted to do in my life, for some reason. It's weird thinking,
there's still time, Jaya. There's still time.
In 2015, I said, okay, I'm making a lot of money in sales. I want to do this. And then I started, like somebody said, you do it in Texas. In Pennsylvania at that time, the units are each individual units are going for 80, 90,000. That is the greatest time to buy it in suburbs. And I didn't know that. I kind of little bit chickened out or whatever. Then I thought that was pretty high. Then I started looking in Texas and everything. Then like, for me, it was like out of state investing. Always my properties are all within 30 minutes from my home or 45 minutes from my home. So it took me a mind block, and I was very busy with sales side of it. So I never really concentrated on doing this, like, full in like, I didn't give like full thought into it. And I was thinking. My husband was like, he was trying to push me to do this instead of being top in sales and doing this. I was sidetracked. But in 2017, I got an excellent deal that was in LoopNet. I've been watching LoopNet for a year because it's very rare to find a good deal in LoopNet. And I saw this deal in 2017 around late summer or something like that. It was a 44 unit building in Littlestown in Pennsylvania. So I went there. It was this is a property bought by an investment company. They bought it in a several $billion portfolio. Like they buy a bunch of non-performing properties and they split it up and sell it. This is the company. It's called Fitzgerald something. So remember in Trade Tower, Trade Tower, it fell down. There is one top unit where there were like everybody died except the CEO, the investment company. It's kind
Oh, wow.
of Fitzgerald. This company name is some Fitzgerald or something like that. That's the company where most of the employees died in 9/11. Like, you know,
Oh,
so
wow.
that company had this investment portfolio and they were selling it, and they were asking 2.2 million for a 44 unit, and it is completely like people with the drug issues, and it is in a very nice neighborhood, but with the drug issues, and I think it had like 50% vacancy or something like that. So we gave a $50,000 over the asking price to get it. So we paid 2.25 million. It had 4 offers on it, and we so far spent like maybe $400,000 into it. You know, we stabilized it within a year itself. They pay an $800 rent right now, and it was absolutely the best deal I have ever done in my life. So it's the property is completely went through. Every unit is rehabbed to the specification. I am very picky about everything. Like, you know, I have a system in place, and that property is in very good condition. It gives me lots and lots of money, which as of right now, they are changing the roof right now. Like, you know, this has been 3 years, and it's like, you know, the last 3 years actually. Then after when I went bought that property, then I just my kids were teenagers, like, you know, 2017, like one was 16 years old and one was 14 years old at that time. And I was like, and they needed me like very much, you know. I didn't talk about how much I worked. I talked about how much deals I did, how successful I am. But I gave up so much in my life to who I am today, because I don't think my children know me who I am, like, you know, very much during those the, like, you know, earlier part of, because I'm not home most of the time. I will go home and come home like 8, 9 o'clock. My husband is the mother in my family. He's the one who took care of everything. And they know that I'm working hard. I never watch TV in my house, and I always doing that or this, and always working, you know. That's how they know. Like, you know, I have a strong guilty feeling that I was not a great mother, like, you know, because I was not in their life as much as I like them to be, like, you know. So in 2017, after I bought that investment property, and I took a back seat on everything because they are teenagers, and I had feeling that they needed me more than anything else. And they were applying for colleges and getting ready to go to colleges and stuff like that. So, and I did real estate sales side of it very much, but I maintain all the properties. I have a team. I have a team that maintains my investment properties. I only get involved if there is a troubled tenant or trouble situation or something like that, like, you know. So I have a system in place that just, they follow the system. So then 3 years, I dedicated my life to my children, like, you know. So now they are like past that teenage years. One is 17 and one is 19, and both are in colleges now. So I kind of now back into it, and that's why I decided to come to Keller Williams, because, and I think I got my energy back, and I no longer feel guilty that I was not a mother who was not. And the one thing, the parents who have that feeling that who work really hard, work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's what I am. You have the feeling that, you know, I just tell you this, that children are all not listening to us. We think that children are all listening to us. Actually, children are all watching us. So watching is what we are doing. So my children never, not even once, told me that I didn't spend any time for them or anything like that. The more, who is your mother? If somebody, what is your mother, like, you know, how is your mother, like, you know, if somebody asks, she says, my mother is very hardworking and she's very caring person, like, you know. I don't know whether I showed the caring part of it very well, but they know that, like, you know. So that guilty part, like these 3 years that I didn't do any deals, I didn't do any my sales numbers were very flat, like, you know, I was selling between 30 to 40 million every year. So it may be like a very high number for everybody. If somebody like me that felt like I'm not growing, I'm not doing anything, better than what I was doing. Like, so then 2020, like spring, then everything was calmed down and they got up, they become like a bigger children. They started taking responsibility for their life and everything. Then I came back to my career back again. And right, I changed. It was a very difficult decision to change to Keller Williams because I have 23 properties under contract, 23 or 24 under contract to close in Remax right now. I left it like that and changed into Keller Williams. And after moving into Keller Williams, it's 9 days now. It's actually 13 days. It has been 13 days. I already have 7 property under contract and 4 is about to go under contract. Like it's like a crazy ride really with this. But I have been working on in the investment side of it. That's where the failure feeling is coming in. So I'm looking at multiple units right now, like taking it into the next level. Like, I just stopped it for to be a mother. Now I'm restarting again.
That's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing some of your personal life and your personal journey there. And I think it's inspirational because, listen, you're going to have that time with your kids only one time, right? And so you're a very ambitious person and you know you're capable of a lot, but you made that decision that was very strategic and very smart to be there for your kids. And listen, now you're in a spot where your kids are at college now, they don't need you as much, and you can get back into doing what you do and what you love doing, which is, finding the deals. So tell me this, do you, I know we talked a little bit about it. Are you still under contract with that other multifamily or did that?
Yes. Yeah. I'm still
okay.
under contract.
What's going on with that? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we recently, like I have been like last 6 to 8 months, I have been watching the market and talking to commercial brokers and everything. Like, when I do commercial deals, I don't represent myself, like, because, somebody has to get paid to give me that deal to me. I always believe in win-win situation. Like, I give mortgages to my contractors for when they buy their house. Even when they buy their investment properties, I give mortgages to them because, if I just get rich, it's not going to make me happy as much as people who around me who help me to get rich. So I make sure everybody around me, I don't try to squeeze every dollar around my contractors and stuff like that. Like, my vendors and everything, they are kind of like, they will come to my children's weddings, so like that kind of mindset. See, this deal is in Monroe County, we didn't know that, thank God we figured it out. We were supposed to, I cannot, because it's pending contract, I cannot tell you the exact numbers. It was listed for 3.25. And we made an offer, which was really a good offer and good offer also. We felt like there is a really high upward potential on this apartment building. It's around 34 unit apartment building. But the problem they did not tell us was that it had a property tax of $49,000. Okay, then they gave a OM. OM is offer of memorandum in commercial real estate. They gave a OM, which is it says like around 7.5 cap rate, and I was thinking that that is too good to be true. 7.5 cap rate is like really like good. And I looked at it, and I'm really good at analyzing deals. I looked at it and did hours of research, and I said, okay, this property has really high potential. I can make it work. This is another little town, but it was not. They conveniently forgot to tell me that their property tax doubled. The new property tax is $90,000. And it was after we spend like a 1 month, it takes like after they accept your LOI, letter of intention, they forgot to tell you that then they gave all the paperwork, and one of the documents somewhere in little bit, the new taxes is going to be 90,000 instead of 48,000. So my cap rate went from 7.5 something to like 5.5 or even less. It's a it's a horrendous feeling, we know that I have the feeling that it was not disclosed. So in commercial real estate, unlike in residential real estate, they don't have to disclose as much. And there is a lot of leniency there. When we figured it out, I thought that the deal is going to die. But this was like 10 days ago. We went back to the table and we looked at the number and we said, okay, and we gave a different offer. I still cannot disclose it because we are still working on putting the documents down. And now it's the cap rate is like coming at 6% right now instead of 7.2 that I was thinking it'll come. But I still think that I can make it work on this deal. So we are working on another deal also. I'm in the acquisition mode right now.
I'm starting to get that sense.
Yeah, and I'm working on another deal. I don't want to go 2 hours away from my house, not more than I am actually 49 years old, and I, as I said, my money requirements are all very not too much really. Money doesn't tick me, so I'm kind of looking at my children are all both in a local college, so I don't, and they most probably close by, so I don't want them to buy properties in Texas, or probably I may get a better deal there, but I'm doing it locally. And there is a very successful another Indian family who came 25 years before me, Indian family who owns I think I would say at least 200 millions worth of real estate, commercial apartment buildings in this area. I'm not a very innovator or anything like that. I just try to see how throughout my life, this is how it is. I try to analyze how other people got successful or richer or whatever way you say. So I found that how they did was that they stayed local and they invested local, and they stayed with the community and did a lot of good service to the community. And when I see them, they are a very happy bunch. So I see that that's what I kind of wanted to be happy and give back to your community and stuff like that.
So that's awesome. What are your right now? I mean, I'm guessing it may have changed over time, but Jaya, what's your investing criteria now? What does a good opportunity look like for you?
See, for in residential investment properties, I always tell everybody, this is what made me rich, is that I buy properties that are all in a decent school system. I don't buy properties. I have a couple of them in very bad school systems, which gave me money, but I think I should have done more. Now I have only 2 or 3 like that. So I go and buy the ugly house, or the house that needs a lot of work, and in the middle class neighborhood, in a decent school system. That's how I made myself. I never, in real estate, the location is very, very, very important, that I never got out of that principle. So I bought several properties in King of Prussia, in Phoenixville, and in Media. Media is my highest distance. In ONJ Robert side of Pottstown, I didn't buy Pottstown school system. I bought ONJ side, the North Coventry and East Coventry side of it. Those are all I see them. I bought them between 2007 and between 2012. They're all almost double their price. I would say I say 80% increase in price, because I bought them at the bottom as a foreclosure properties or estate sales or something like that. So I would strongly stick with properties that needs a lot of work in a middle class or in a good school system where you have upward potential. And also I would buy properties where the rent covers most of the mortgages. Yeah. In our area, it's very difficult to find property which completely covers the mortgage. But in the beginning, that's how it is. But after some time, like, the rent goes up and the mortgage stays. I have refinanced already 2 times with my properties. I go back and take all the money out. Then I go and put money into this. This 44 unit apartment building. No bank was willing to give money because it had like, technically it had like 50% vacancy, but the people told us it's only like 30% vacancy. So no banks were willing to give money. We already had a relationship with the local bank. The local bank said you need to put 50% down. So for us to bring $1 million cash, then we had to refinance all those properties and take money and bought this. And now we are going to take money from that property and go and buy all other properties. Uh, that's how it is. Like, you rob Peter. You don't have like a lot of cash sitting in your, if you a lot of cash sitting in your bank account, which means that you are going to be poor. That's what I tell all my clients who say they come to me with $200,000 cash in their bank account, say, I want to buy a house. I say, you are going to be poor. Like, soon, like, you need to know how to make money out of money. Like, don't keep money just in your bank account. If you look at my bank account, it'll have like a $50,000. It won't have much more than that. For me, that's a very low amount, because I own a lot of real estate and we need money to rotate, like, all the time. I always borrow money to like invest into other areas.
Well, I love what you're saying. The interesting thing about the multifamily you bought, the 44 unit that was 50% occupied. So a bank might look at that and say, oh my gosh, it's only 50% occupied. You got to put extra money down or whatever. It's actually, in some ways, it's actually really good, because you got a chance to rehab the units the way that you wanted to, with no tenant in them, and B, you got a chance to select your own tenants, because you buy a 44 unit that's 90% occupied, you have no idea what you're walking into in terms of the tenants that are actually there.
Oh,
I mean, what about the 22 units that were already rented out? Was that,
we actually send them out, pretty much every one of them. I'm a I would rather take a vacancy than have a bad tenant. So because they always give so much problems. And I'm in my house, my husband is a softie and I'm actually a hard personality. I do a lot of charity, but I don't do charity in my business. That is,
you grew up collecting those rents for your dad. You were built for this. Come on, Jaya.
Yeah. So I don't give any, like bluntly put it, nonsense. On day 5, we give them pay or quit notice if they don't pay the rent. And some of the judges in this area, they ask for 10 days pay or quit notice. So on day 15, we file eviction paper. And the tenants are all like children, like, you have to train them. I never, even if somebody says, oh, I lost a job and I'm getting money from my dad or parent or whatever, or I have that or this, can I go and say the same thing to my mortgage company? Like, I'm sick, my tenant is sick, so she's not paying mortgage and I can't pay her mortgage. She's not paying rent and I can't pay her mortgage. They screw my credit history, like, if I don't pay one day, like, so I give them, I tell them that, and the judge, when you go in front of the judge, by that time itself, it's day 25 or something like that, So they have 25 days to catch up on the rent. Like, if they cannot, then they, sorry, you have to save money for rainy days. Like, you haven't done it. And we do a lot of charities, like, but not through my business. It's very strict. That news spreads to everybody. And also we don't rent it to people with bad credits, and we have a minimum income, like 2.5 times or 3 times, depending upon like if it is a lower income property, then we would go to like 3 times, because it's a $750 rent, like, you need to make at least like $2,200 per month.
Right.
We are very strict, and I train my employees to be like that. We don't take it, it's actually a win-win situation, because the tenants know that the rent comes first. They, from their salary, they pay the rent first. Then we keep our rentals like top-notch conditions. Sometimes I go to my rentals, they look better than my house, Actually, they have a up-to-date light fixture, granite. My $750, $800 apartments in Littlestown have like granite countertop, stainless steel appliances. You can't even believe, like they live in a like a LVL vinyl plank floorings, luxury floorings, and they are in a much better shape, like, you know,
yeah.
than some of
No,
my
that's awesome.
the
Go
you
ahead.
know how we do it. Yeah, you know, it's top-notch service, but at the same time they have to pay the rent on time.
Yeah, and you teach people how to treat you, right? So if you
Yeah.
tell them up front, hey, look, this is a business, and on the 5th, if the rent isn't in, then I'm sending a pay or quit, and then you don't send the pay or quit on the 6th, then you're teaching them that, hey, they said this, but not in actuality, they're not actually going to do it. But when you do it, my question to you is, when you send that pay or quit notice, how often are they going to get caught right back up and get that?
They caught up most of the time immediately. They know that
exactly.
I don't even call them and ask them, did you pay your rent? You know, why is your rent is late? Because I'm not really interested in knowing their life history or anything like that. You know, I don't make those calls. Even when I was property managing for like first, I think I brought in my team to do a property management like 5-6 years ago only. Until then, I was the one who was doing it. So I don't even ask anything. They know that on day 5 they are going to get a letter from me that, like,
right.
you know, rent is delayed and you have to pay your rent, like, you know. Then they know that I won't take any bullshit.
Yeah, you taught them that you're not going to take any junk from them. So
Yeah.
no, I get it. It's a business, right? Yeah. So just like those of us that have teams, we need to keep people on our team accountable to do what they say they're going to do. You're holding your tenants accountable for, paying the rent on time. That's what they agreed to do, right?
Yeah.
So
even during
you're upholding your end of the bargain. Yeah.
Yeah. Even during the COVID times, like we didn't have, like, we had 80 units. That is only like 4 tenants did not pay rent because of the COVID. And 2 of them moved out on their own because their lease terminated and they moved out. And one of them started destroying the property. So like, I think I always feel like there's a lot of this low rental incomes, like particularly the Littlestown ones, like, you know, there is a lot of much more mental health issues are all going on than, like, you know, regular thing, you know, blunt. I'm always blunt and I will tell you like that, you know. So they started putting holes on the walls and, like, you know, if they haven't paid rent, you know, Governor Wolf has stopped all the eviction, like, you know, we cannot do anything about the thing is that he did not like, you know, anyway, it's I wanted to say something but I'm not saying it. So he did not give us any money to pay those mortgages that has not been paid. Who is going to pay for the mortgage when you stop the eviction? You know, some tenants are all taking advantage of it. Anyway, this guy was putting holes and I was able to take it to the judge, and judge gave the judgment to us and he moved out during the COVID times, like, you know. So that was I thought that was a very one of the incredible things that I have done recently, like, you know, because, you know, right now if they don't pay, they can demand for services. They can demand us to fix the leaky faucet, do all those things, you know, everything, but they don't have to go and work, you know, pay their mortgages, you know. There are still a lot of work available, like, you know, you can still pay mortgage payments, like, you know. And they didn't know that when December 1st comes, they have to catch up on the mortgage and, you know, on the rent. And you know, the funny thing is that when the COVID happened, like they said, like, you know, landlords can stop paying mortgages for 3 months, like, you know. So then I called my local bank and I told them that I won't pay a mortgage for like 3 months. I'm going to use this opportunity to see how it works. You know, guess what they did? They put and they agreed to it. We signed the addend agreement and everything that, you know, we pay there will be a delayed in mortgage payment for 3 months. Okay. They went to my credit report bureau and said, I am financially stressed by COVID, like, you know, a statement like that in my credit report. Do you understand? Now I'm trying to get this investment properties, like, this 34 unit apartment building. And now I'm trying to get mortgage. Now they are stopping it, kind of like, because I am financially strained by it. So
Yeah.
I within 30 days, I brought back all my that account to pay it the last month. It's not that we didn't have money, it's just, okay,
Sure.
what is that? Like, coming, like, let's delay it for 90 days. But like, landlords get no break, and they think that we are rich and we can handle this. And who is giving money for landlords? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy time to be a landlord. So my understanding, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, is that with what's going on with COVID and everything right now, you cannot evict a tenant for non-payment of rent, but you could evict them if they are breaking their lease in other ways. Is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, if they are destroying the property, you can evict them.
Yeah.
Which I thought
Gotcha.
I cannot even do it. But I don't know, like, judges are all very, this is in central Pennsylvania, the one I have Lilstone, that situation, it's very conservative country, like, so so I was able to get the thing done, and I'm not sure whether I can get this done local suburbs here, like,
Gotcha.
But the one I had, like, a tenant with media, like, who didn't pay the rent for a few months, but her lease was up, so she left. So I don't think, I didn't check my team. Like, I don't think we were able to keep the last month rent and 1 month security deposit or something like that. We didn't make like a huge loss. Like, the one I'm actually going to acquire has 4 tenants in 34 building. 4 tenants do not pay rent because of COVID. So I have to take that over and see how we are going to handle that. Like,
I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think there's going to be some great multifamily investment opportunities coming up here in the next year or so, because I think there's going to be a lot of landlords that are not able to weather the storm of, if they have a multifamily.
But I am going to contradict that, actually.
Oh, you think so? You think? Okay. Yeah. Let me hear your point of view.
Right now, it's 97% of the tenants are all paying rent to landlord. So the landlords are all not as, only it's few tenants are all having problems. I think we need to have a general economic condition for it to have a problem. We don't have serious vacancy issues. All our vacancies are all getting filled up, and tenants are all basically paying rent. So, the commercial real estate is going to have a significant problem in the next 2 to 3 years, where people are started going to work from home. So where office buildings are all going to have serious problems, like, and the malls, we had problems, like, that they are all converting into doctor offices and apartment buildings, like, but we have a lot of high-end classy apartment buildings right now going on everywhere. So that will take some time to come down. I don't think, the multifamily side of it is going to have a significant drop. I'm not sure, because the interest rate is low.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might come down. I have been waiting for it for last 4 or 5 years. So for that to come down, it's not happening. So I'm kind of like looking at, I never wanted to invest in like 30 units, 40 units, because that involves, you can't put like a property management at site to do it, because there is not enough rent to do it. But like right now, all these like 100 unit apartment complexes are all selling for a higher premium, because all these REITs and everything, they are expecting the recession. Because of the recession, they are expecting, because we are printing money like anything. And we believe that the inflation is going to hit us significantly, and they are using real estate as a hedge against inflation. So when that thing happens, like, the real estate will be like really a good investment, to do it. But I'm not seeing like the multi-units, like in last 5 to 7 years, it's actually doubled, much more than the residential side of it. And I think I'm getting into the tail end of it, like how I did it in residential in 2006 or 7. That's the same way. Maybe if there is a downturn happened, and I will be very happy about it. I will take
opportunity in every market. That's for sure.
if
awesome.
Your words comes true. But I always tell people to invest in real estate when it is in a bad time. Like, if you look at like some of the richest people in the world, like, Rockefellers and all those people, they made money when it recession, depression, all those things. Like, I made my money during those 2007 to 2013 or 14. After 2013, 14, I stopped investing in real estate. I kind of cannot convince myself to pay that much of a price. I was not aggressive enough, I guess.
That might be the only time that's ever been said before, but all right. What questions do all of you have right now for Jaya? I want to open it up. We covered a lot. I had a whole list of questions, Jaya. I'm not sure I asked any of them because you just rolled with it, and then I asked you a bunch of other questions. So David Stillwell's got a question for you. What can you tell us about the systems you use for your rentals? Fix up, tenant acquisition, rent collection, etc. So what kind of systems do you have in your business? You did reference that a couple times, Jaya.
Yeah, normally we use the same color paint, like, everywhere, like, it's just so touch up would be like, the light fixtures are all like pretty much we have, like, if you go to our apartment building, we can see the flooring is same. So if the tenant trashes the flooring, like, we use luxury vinyl plank flooring. We used to use hardwood floors for all of our tenant places. You may think it's stupid we never use carpet in our properties, never. Every surface is hardwood floors between tenants. Hardwood floors, now we started using the luxury vinyl LVP planks, like, the paints are all, we don't use the half white paints because it makes it looks cheap. So we always, nowadays we started using those light gray colors, like, I use Anu gray or I think another gray, Repose gray. Yeah, Repose gray, Sherwin-Williams color. That's what I use right now, all my rental properties. And I use the same color, like a vinyl plank flooring, which is like 80 cents per square foot. And I use the light fixtures very similar. Like there is one in Home Depot that I use, like, where I can keep everything in uniform if I need like a spare parts, which I have it, like, we use the uniformity, and also we use surfaces where it doesn't need to be. And also the other problem is that I don't buy investment properties in the condo classifications. Condo classifications, because the condos have so many restrictions on them. So I don't buy condos, and I like to buy single homes in a bad shape, in a decent school system. And I try to keep the property taxes lower, like, and also I let my tenants pay for all the utility bills, and also they take care of the lawn and everything. I don't worry about the condition of the lawn as much, like, between tenants. I go and check our properties. I don't check, my team does it like once a year. We enter the property and check it out. And another important thing is that we take care of our properties, but we do not go and take care of every little items that the tenant is complaining about. Because there is no perfect husband, same way there is no perfect house. So, there are perfect humans out there, but like, so the same way, like, if a tenant comes up with like 10 items and 6 of them, like, critical, like, the locks are not working, the heating system is not working, leaking, so those problems we'll take care of it. Like small dummy problems, like, we say, like, we group it together and we do it, like, because if you start taking care of them, they come up with own set of their problems, like, so you need to train your tenants. Like sometimes ignoring it is like a good way to go about it, because, if you tell them I will take care of it, I will keep it in tip-top condition, then you pay me another $50 additional rent, they won't pay for it, like, and you have to send a contractor to it. I don't know how to even handle any tools. I used to paint houses when I was starting up. Now I don't have time, like, So.
No, not worth your dollar per hour to be painting houses, right?
No. I can't, I just don't, I want to enjoy life, I really
Yeah.
work hard. The very important thing, anybody who wants to start up like that is like first to 5 to 7 years of real estate investing, you don't even see it's really giving you any benefit. You just have to do it like without thinking about any return or anything like that. Then after that only, it's not like a get rich scheme immediately. It takes its time, and it is then once you are like, once you make your first $1 million, the second million comes very quickly, third million comes real fast. And like now we are significantly up, like, I don't have to worry about money, or my kids doesn't have to worry about money.
That's great. Yeah, it's definitely a get rich slow type of situation with rental properties. What Dan Hagen asked the question: what tools do you use for analyzing the financials of a property?
Oh, that is that my husband does. He has a PhD in chemistry, so he's an analytical thing. He's the one. We don't use. There is a goodmortgage.com has a real estate investment like tools available. I will do. I don't do really like a specific rules. Most of the time we use like 1% rule that you are like, it has to, like, if you are buying a $2,500 property, $25,000 property, then it should make a $2,500 rent, like, per month. But that is very difficult to come by. So our general rule is like lower property taxes, and we would rather pay a little bit more money for the house for lower property taxes, because we can pay down the house, but we cannot, the property tax is going to be like, and also we don't buy properties in the high homeowner associations, like, because that is also money throwing into the dustbin, like, trash bag, so that is another thing that I would say, like, I would not do it like, but like, I think we use regular, like, we don't use anything fancy really, like, we look at the numbers and add them up, and does it make any sense? But one advice I would give everybody is that very, very important advice, which I did not follow and I regret it very much, is that move into multi-unit families as soon as possible. Don't stick with single homes, like, for a long time. Like, that's what I did, like, until like 2017. Like, I wasted like 10 years doing like single homes, and I had like 40 of them by that time. But it's given me money, but I could have been got a more richer and worked less if I have moved into a multifamily. Like, just go into like 4 units, 5 units, 7 units, where the competition is less. Right now, if a foreclosure property has a good deal comes in, you have like 10 offers or 20 offers on the deal. And if you go into multi-units, it's not really, and also multi-units are all less risky in my opinion, because you have 4 tenants paying for your mortgage, and if one of them doesn't pay, then you still have 3 tenants paying, and you still can make mortgage. You have to pay something from your pocket. If you have one tenant paying like $3,000 rent instead of 4 tenants paying like $750, right? $3,000. If you have a vacancy, you cannot even handle it. So I actually invest. I want to invest in properties. Like, I don't go to very cheaper rental properties too. Like, if you go to central Pennsylvania, you can get apartment buildings, like tenants who pay like $550, $600. We don't buy those properties, because the labor cost to run those properties would take a lot of money. So we have a minimum of like $750 minimum. Like the one that I am acquiring right now in Monroe County is like minimum is $1,000, the rent they pay. So which is really good, and it has a significant upward potential also. So we have that, and we don't like to buy 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms we can, because there are a lot of apartment buildings have 2 bedrooms in them. So so finding a tenant is difficult. So I normally try to get, like, if it is not a multi-unit, if it is an individual property, I want to have minimum of 3 units and lower homeowner association. I don't buy properties, condo properties, and I'm not a big fan of buying properties not more than like 1400 square foot. If it is more than 1400 square foot, then you have to pay for new flooring, paint, and all those things cost higher, but you don't charge as much rent for it. Okay. So I don't buy like big properties to rent it out, because you have to change the floors and you have to paint it and you have to upkeep it. So go to multi-units faster. Don't worry about it, because people look at multi-unit, get scared. And I think I wish I have done a multi-unit like 5 years earlier, and I would have been like really, really better position. Like, that was my mistake. And that's what I tell a lot of my investors. Don't like go directly to multi-units. Yeah. Like, 3 units, 5 units, 7 units, like, you start like that, then you can go into like 12 and 15, 30, like that. Like, I'm right now at 30, 45, like that shape, but I want to go into 100 units, but like 100 units are all like, it's like a lot of in commercial real estate, a lot of the deals are all like very inside deals, the good deals are all. So you need to be like the friends group of that commercial agent. The ones that are come on LoopNet or Cruxy or something, it's not really the greatest deals. And we are actually right now going into that. Because once you buy that, the agents around you knows that you are the doer, you are not the talker. So they start sending you leads in. Then you get better deals and better deals. So in commercial real estate, that's how it is. Like, you have to go into it. And right now, my best advice for everybody, there are like 23 people in this. The thing is that go into multifamily. That's what I would say. Like, single families are all having a lot of trouble getting a good investment properties like that is cash flowing. Try to go into a multi-units and try to maybe go like I don't know anything about Philadelphia, like, so I can't even comment on the Philadelphia market. Like, go maybe west from here, like, you may get deals. Right now, the market is very, very high in a residential single home or something like that. For a lot of them may not even make sense as an investment property, like, so.
Yeah, no, it's good advice with the multifamily. I agree with that. So Diane Stanko asked, do you systematically raise rents?
Yeah, systematically we raise rent, and I started concentrating on multi-units. Now I'm actually into the acquisition side of it. Mostly my husband and my management team is involved in running the day-to-day operation of it. So we raise rent like 3% every year. And also I told my staff to see what is the comparative value, like, the other tenants are all paying for other buildings, and we raise rent consistently.
Gotcha. Okay. So 3% a year, and that's just baked into your lease then, or?
Yeah, like, we just put it in the lease itself and we raise it up. Yeah.
Okay. What lenders do you find to be investor friendly?
Yeah, I used to use Phoenixville Federal Bank, which is really good. Okay. People say Malvern Federal, it never worked really that much. I liked Phoenix. In the beginning, they did a lot of, Phoenixville Federal Bank did a lot of my deals. Then once we got higher and higher, I think they got scared, like, they have like $3-4 million loan on us, and what will happen or something. Now we do QNB Bank. They are the ones they give, and you have to create a relationship with them. This is not something and I know the commercial manager or residential lending managers, and we talk to them and we pay our mortgages on time. And right now the Littlestone QNB is doing it. The new one that I'm doing is also QNB is doing it. The good thing is that they don't, in commercial real estate, you have to pay like around 2% of your mortgage amount as a fee, like, itself, which would be like for us, like, it's a lot of money, like a 2% and 1% to us. We get a good rate and we hardly get any upfront fees like that. So when you work with a local bank. But when
I'm also a big fan of, you familiar with First Resource? Have you ever used them for anything, Jaya?
Yeah, no, I haven't. Probably I should contact them. First resource
I
bank.
can get you connected there. They're really, really good. I'm impressed. They're very investor friendly.
Yeah. You know, you should, I should, I always open to new ideas, you know, even this thing that guys are all 22 participants out there. If you guys find a deal like a commercial, like a 30 unit, which is in distress and you don't have money, and but you know, you have the deal and you can come to me and we would finance it. And you know, I always believe in like win-win situations. So um, we can do something about how we structure the deal and everything, like, you know, we can do it that way. If you have a good deal and you don't have money to finance it, just come to us and we will see, like, you know, how we can work together and get that deal working.
So that cracks me up because I was listening to a podcast the other day and Gary Keller was the guest on the podcast. And he said that most people, they say, oh, you know, I'll invest when I have money, right? And he says to the people when they say that, he says, oh, okay, well, if you had, you know, a couple $100,000 right now, what would you invest in? And most of the time he's like, they just say, well, I don't know, right? So they're saying if they had money, they would invest it, but they have no clue what they would actually invest the money in. And so the point is, if you find the deal and it's a good enough deal, you'll be able to find the money. I mean, there's other people around here that will, if it's truly a good deal, there's other people that will help you with that deal. So
yeah,
that means paying you a finder fee, becoming some kind of an equity partner, you know, whatever it is. If you have a good enough deal, the money will show up.
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool. Kelly had a question here. Are you concerned with renting to non-US citizens for auditing purposes?
I never had any, like, some of my rentals, there is no, I never had, like, even those people, like, you know, I came here as a legal immigrant in 1996, like, you know, with a H-1B visa. And one thing I have to tell you guys, like, you know, we have few minutes. This is not about investment property. Like, you know, I just wanted to say how great this country is. Like, you know, you don't understand, you live in a country which is the greatest country in the world. Like, you know, I came to this country with $200 in my hand, which is a borrowed money, which is not even my money. Okay. Borrowed money. I came here, I have a prospect of an IT job, and my first IT job, I made like $45,000 as a Visual Basic programmer. So then now I look at myself, and all along, I didn't grow up to be like this successful just by myself. There are a lot of people in big Delaware investor group, and I went in, I was the only female there and a brown female there to like, you know, listen to all these conversations and get to understand the concept and everything. And they taught me, like, you know, so I am very, you won't even believe, very, very, very grateful for this country. Like, you know, it's I am completely an American. I think like an American because I think in English. Like, when you think in your native language, you are still there. Like, you know, when you think in English, you become like that part of that country. I'm like that. I have an accent maybe, but I am an American. And recently somebody asked me to go back to my country. I was, you know, we haven't had that situation before, but it happened to me very recently because they came and hit my car and told me to go back to my country. That was very funny. But I was telling that, like, you
said, I'm in my country. You go back to yours.
You know, I was like, very this is very, very, very rare in this country. I didn't face racism at all. Like, you know, very hardly faced racism in the whole of my career. And there are a lot of people helped me to be who I am today. Like, you know, so I am so grateful for this country. And this is the country, like, I have employees now. I do housing for 80 people, and hopefully I'll give housing for 10,000 people. So 10,000 families, not people, 10,000 families. No, I still have that goal, like the 10,000 units. So it's, you know, I'm very, very grateful for who I am today. And it's all because of the people in this country.
Yeah, well, no one succeeds alone. And I think you make a really good point. And there, they call America the land of opportunity, and some people think it no longer is the opportunity, but I think you're proof that
we have
the opportunity is still there if you want it bad enough, right?
Yeah,
So.
no. If I am a white person in India and doing these kind of deals there, I may not be alive. So over there, the real estate has got a significant mafia presence. So it does not I don't know India very much. I left India a long time back, 24 years ago. So I don't understand. Think somebody asked me, what do I read up to on the? Actually, I read the thing who I become, how I become is the main thing I forgot to tell everybody is that every day when I work really 15 hours, literally I work 15 hours a day every day. So at the end of the day, I give like an hour for myself and I read about, I listen to graduation speeches. It's funny to say this, graduation speeches or motivational speeches, and I read about successful people, like they can be like anything, in successful in anything that I want to read about their biography a little bit, to understand it. And I listen to motivational speeches every day. That gives me the motivation to the next day wake up and do what I do, because I work 7 days a week and I work 15 hours a day. It's a lot of hard work who I become. A lot of people, friends who think that I got the money easily, but it's not. It is lots and lots of hard work. I gave up a lot of things in life, to get who I am, but I enjoy doing what I am. I don't think it is a sacrifice because I enjoyed it. I'm passionate about it to do it. So real estate, what do I read? I read a real estate section on CNN, CNBC, and once a week only. I don't read every day, but I read about. I go to bigger packets and read all those articles. And REA Club also, I read a lot of articles about real estate. Whenever I have free time, I would do that only. The very important advice that if I'm waiting for a client, for them to show up in an appointment, I don't waste my time. When are they going to come? When are they going to come? I always start reading articles immediately. Instead of going crazy over this, that's how I keep myself motivated and always up to date with the market. Bigger packets, and I go to their commercial section side of it and read.
Yeah, Bigger Pockets is a really great resource. I mean, you could literally find out any question you have. There's message boards on there. You can pretty much figure out anything you need to find out. And their podcast is fantastic too. Jay, I don't know if you listen to that, but that's good to just keep you focused.
I listen to podcasts too.
Yeah, it's great. Bigger Pockets is a good one. There's a million different real estate investments.
Yeah, REI clubs, they have very good articles, and also read success stories on them, which gives me really a motivation, and in the success stories, they talk about the deals, how they did the deal. That gives you an idea, about how you can structure your deals. The thing is that this generation wants is that you listen to 2 hours and you want to learn everything about it, but these 1.5 hours, this conversation, somebody listened to it, probably they might have gotten 1 or 2 ideas. And everything else, they already know it. But that 1 or 2 idea is very important to take you to next step in your life.
Yeah. Go get into multifamily quicker, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe in 5 to 10 years, I would retire and be in a multifamily, retire in sales side of it. But I don't know. I love to talk to people. Somebody today morning called me and said Jaya, I'm going to refer my friend. I use this realtor and I was not very happy about it. And I know that you will be a better person for him. I didn't refer my realtor. It made me very happy, as though I made $1 million in a deal. So that's
It's,
why.
it's important because you feel like you're making a difference, to other people out there. And I
Yeah,
think that's,
yeah.
we all need to feel like we're contributing and we're helping other people. And that's where true fulfillment really lies.
Yeah, another important thing, we have maybe like few minutes left. Important thing is that
Yeah.
your pain tolerance level, like, this is, I tell a lot of people about your pain tolerance level. Like, when something goes really wrong in your investment, this 44-unit apartment building had a serious problem last year, that where this is a new problem where I have never dealt ever in my career, that where um, there was a road higher than us, in this, that is, in this apartment building, there is like a higher, this is in a little bit lower elevation than a road on the top. So it seems like there was a water leak happening in the underground. Then the water department for the borough and it created a spring kind of thing in a neighboring property, and the water was flowing from the neighboring property to our property, and on the driveway it was going on for like 6-8 months. Okay, we didn't know that the leak was happening in the top, and we asked the water department to go and check the water. There are a lot of incompetent people in this field. He went and looked at it. He said there was no leak at all in public water lines. It's all good. Then the hay started growing in the neighboring property where the water started coming into it. They all started saying that there was a new spring started. So the EPA got involved in it. The Conservative Society got involved in it. A couple of tenants fell on the ice and the water. Then they started suing us. So you won't even believe the amount of stress I went through, and the local borough is kind of like giving us so much stress. Then they wanted us to put an underground water system where it takes it's going through our driveway on top of it. So we have to open our driveway and put like a French drain system for the water to go back into this. At that time we didn't know that the public water was doing it. There is no way of knowing. The local public water company is saying that it's a borough water. It's saying that it's ours is functioning okay. You got a new spring. We were worried that the environmental agency is going to take over our property, which is worth like over $3 million. It was a very stressful time for us. And but I had a high pain tolerance level, that I told myself, and we have hired attorneys and everybody to handle. Then guess what? One day the water company realized it. We spent $100,000 to put that the paving, the special paving with water going into the ground and everything. Then once we finished the project, 1 month into it, they found out it is the public water which is leaking, that is creating a spring. The guy didn't even do a chlorine test on the water to see whether it is coming from the ground or it is coming from the public water. So we spent $100,000 on a project because somebody's incompetency. This is one kind of example. We can say so many things about it. And everything we looked at it as this one was very painful, but everything we looked at it didn't bother us. I tell myself, something worse happens, it's just the money. And I came here with $200 borrowed money, and I'm here. What is that? He's giving me a trouble, and it's going to cost me like $1,000 or $2,000 lost rent or damage to the property. It's not a big deal. I just look at the big picture, and I don't take it too much to my heart and worry. So don't stress about little small things really at all. When you look at it, look at the big picture. How are you going to be in 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? This is a temporary problem. So if you can take the look at bigger picture and take the pain, don't take too much to the heart. If the tenant is destroying the property, what is the thing going to happen? You get a guy and you spend $200 and he's going to fix the holes. That's what you have to do.
I love it. Well, any closing thoughts you want to leave us with, Jaya?
Leave us with is this is a very we all just do it not for the money part of it. Do it as a passion. You like to help people to get good housing. What is your job? for you in this world? What is God has, I strongly believe in God, what God has given you as a capability, and like, what are you going to service? Everybody's purpose is serve. Our ultimate purpose is some others. My purpose is to help somebody to get a housing or give a good housing services. That's what I would think about it. And don't like worry about small things, like look at big picture. And like,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, and, you're right. If you're just
aggressive in your investment, like, I kind of little bit slacked for the last few years, but I think I will do my 10,000 unit goal. Actually my daughter is in Wharton Business School. So she is kind of like, hopefully she would work with me to get the goal, I guess.
I love it. Well, you definitely are a big thinker, and I think that's awesome. You're a go-getter. You make stuff happen. And, a couple of things I took away was multifamily is definitely where it's at. That's how you can scale up quicker. And I love, I've already heard this, but it's just great to hear it again, which is, use your first investment to roll it into your next investment and really keep that money flowing.
That's what you can do this infinite times, like,
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, because if you have to wait and save up 20% for the next deal every time, you'll never get there. It'll take you forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you for all your wisdom and for hopping on here. This was awesome. I really, really appreciate it, and we'll do it again sometime.
Thank you very much. Hopefully I helped you guys to, like, to give you some information. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Jaya. Thanks everybody for being here. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.